It is Tuesday, and that means it is Top 5 Tuesday. As every Tuesday now, we decide to do a Top 5 list. And listen, a little bit later in the show, we're going to be talking about Michael Keaton. There's a Michael Keaton topic coming up here in just a bit. So I thought today we would take the opportunity, Rob, to talk about one of the, I think it's fair to say, one of the most beloved guys as far as audiences are concerned in the Hollywood system right now, and that is Michael Keaton. So the topic for today's Top 5 Tuesday is the movies of Michael Keaton. And Rob, you know, as you sit back and look at the filmography of Michael Keaton, he's not just a fan favorite actor, because there seems to be two different types of big actors, right? There's fan favorite actors, like your Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons and stuff like that. And then there's your prestige Oscar level actors. Michael Keaton is one of those guys who straddles both. He's a fan favorite. He is an Oscar caliber actor. And he's got an impressive list of films. Too many that we can even go into and mention. We were talking not too long ago about films like Dream Team and Gung Ho, which is absolutely amazing. Several others, but let's get over. I'm going to give my top 5.
Yep.
All right. So let's go over to the Campea classroom here for a second. Talk about top 5. My number 5 Michael Keaton film is his first Batman film. That first Batman. Now, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that are kind of stunned that I'm not ranking it even higher on my list, because to a lot of people, to some people, Batman, that first Tim Burton Batman film with Michael Keaton, is some people's favorite comic book film of all time. I really enjoy it. I really love it. I have some others ahead of it, but still, Batman for me is number 5. At number 4, and some people are going to be really surprised I'm putting this ahead of it, but is Spider-Man Homecoming. Him playing Vulture was shocking and surprising to me in that. He brought the heart and soul. Tom Holland is great in the movie, obviously. Jacob Butler is absolutely, Zendaya is great in it, but I thought it was Michael Keaton playing Vulture in that. That scene in Homecoming where he's in the car with just Peter and they're talking to each other through the rearview mirror. I mean, I ate him up in this. I loved him in this. So I'm going to go number 4 is Spider-Man Homecoming. All right. At number 3, one that I bet a lot of our viewers haven't seen, Mr. Mom.
I was just going to say, no, Mr. Mom.
Oh, Mr. Mom with Terry Garr. Now you got to remember, it may seem a little backwards today to say you're making a big deal. Like it's so weird that a dad would stay home to raise their kids. Got to remember, this movie was almost 40 years ago.
Yep.
This movie came out in 1983. All right. I was 10 when this movie came out. And at that time, we started to see a shift in our society that like women were seen as playing a larger role in the dynamics of supporting the family, stuff like that. And at that time, to make a movie about, wait a minute, a man who stays home to raise the kid. I mean, that was...
Yeah, it's called progress, people. Stop applying today's progress to yesterday.
It was completely out of the box at the time. It was different at the time. And it's one of the movies that I think helped propel progress in a society way. And it's funny and it's charming. And I love Terry Garr, by the way. See Mom and Dad Save the World. But I love Terry Garr and Michael Keaton in it. Absolutely fantastic. All right. Number 2 for me. Birdman. I still remember watching. This was really, even though Michael Keaton has always stayed busy, Birdman was his coming out party, I think, for a lot of the world. It was the one that's like, oh yeah, we all love Michael Keaton. And he came out there. That movie, the little twist, the kind of psychedelic edge to the film. Ed Norton, by the way, is fantastic in this movie as well. Everybody in this movie is incredible. And I believe he got nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards for this. But yeah, Birdman for me is absolutely incredible. So that's number 2 on my list. Number 1 on my list, I think, is one of the most underappreciated Best Picture winners ever in Oscar history. And that's Spotlight. Spotlight to me is just... I remember that was a movie that haunted me. Like once I saw that movie, I was haunted by it for days after watching it. And Michael Keaton's performance was one of the core. Mark Ruffalo was fantastic in it. Rachel McAdams is fantastic in it. Everybody's in it is great. But I thought Michael Keaton's performance was one of those anchoring points of that whole film. Won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And listen, here's how good Michael Keaton's career is. look at this list again. I'm sure there are some people out there putting together their Michael Keaton top 5, and maybe none of my films are even on their list.
Mine's pretty different.
That's how deep his career is. So, my number 5 is Batman. Number 4, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 3, Mr. Mom. Number 2, Birdman. Number 1, Spotlight. So, Rob, let's go over to you. What is your top 5 for Michael Keaton?
My number 5 is the first time I saw Michael Keaton playing Bill Blazejowski, Billy Blaze, Night Shift. 40 years ago, pre-Mr. Mom. I loved this movie. We're love brokers. Yeah, it's Henry Winkler.
Yep.
And there are 2 movies from the early 80s. Night Shift is one of them. Risky Business is another. Where are the sequels? I want to see Day Shift and I want to see Riskier Business. I love Night Shift. I watch it. I mean, to me, that was also when Ron Howard came out of the gate showing. I mean, he'd done like Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was like one of his first
film.
No,
it wasn't his first, but it was like one of his early.
It was his big breakthrough, you know. And Billy Blaze, Michael Keaton has his wacky dude. He's just great at it. My number 4 movie, which is now that I look at yours, is Spotlight. Now I have watched Spotlight, wackily enough, twice in the last 2 nights. It is a fantastic film. And the thing about Michael Keaton is I didn't know that you were going to ask for this topic until you texted it to me. The thing that struck me and that I was thinking as I was watching it, I'm like, Michael Keaton is actually the hero of Spotlight. He's got this great supporting cast, but he's the hero. He's the prime mover because he has to decide, and then through his machinations, his character ends up being, if it could be called, a hero. He is so good in that film. Reserved, but also you see this anger about what's going on. He's great. Great in the movie. Number 3, The Founder.
Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
That's a good one.
I struggled not putting that on my list.
Yeah, I was like, why is The Founder not on John's?
Number 3 is The Founder because, again, you see he's playing a real guy, Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's, and it's all him. He's front and center, and you see he's playing so many different colors in terms of what kind of a character he is. Number 2, following up on Night Shift, he's front and center. Here is a film that will remain timeless, and his performance in it is one for the ages.
Duplicity.
No. Beetlejuice.
Woo!
Beetlejuice is number 2.
Beetlejuice.
Because, again, no one, the comedic chops he displayed in Night Shift reached their zenith in Beetlejuice. I've seen The Exorcist 167 times, and it keeps getting better every time I see it. He's just the best. And then my number 1 is Birdman. Because Birdman, again, he is front and center. I mean, the thing about Michael Keaton is he has a very unusual face. He's not necessarily traditionally handsome, and yet he is. And he can turn his face into a boundless fountain of comedy. But he can also turn it inward and be stern and serious and emotional. He has a very, he's just a really appealing presence. And if he needs to be like in Dope Sick, which he was recently in on TV, the guy's an incredible actor. And I think he's only gotten better. And watching him in Spotlight 2 nights in a row, I'm like, this guy is one of our finest actors working on screen today.
So again, to highlight, this is just how deep Michael Keaton's career has been, that out of our 5, only 1 is shared on our 2 lists. Or actually, no, you got Spotlight and Birdman, so do I. So my number 5 was Batman, number 4, Spider-Man Homecoming, number 3, Mr. Mom, number 2, Birdman, number 1, Spotlight. Rob's number 5 is Night Shift, number 4, Spotlight, number 3, The Founder, number 2, Beetlejuice, and number 1, Birdman.
I should have put Spotlight at number 2.
No, you put it where you put it. This is so good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Out of the incredible career of Michael Keaton and all the amazing films that he has done, what for you stands out as a top 5 for him? Jump on down in the description below, in the comment section below, and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. Guys, my wife Ann and I love using HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. When you subscribe to HelloFresh, you can check Save Money off of your fall to-do list. HelloFresh is 25% cheaper than takeout and even less expensive than grocery shopping too. And HelloFresh works with your ever-changing schedule. Plans are flexible and you can choose your meals for the week, update your preferences, or change your delivery day all in the HelloFresh app. Now, you know Ann and I are both working professionals, so when it comes to dinner time, it can be a bit of a challenge. We don't really have time to cook and we don't want to eat out all the time. And that's why HelloFresh comes through so clutch for us. Not only do we get to eat delicious, nutritious food, but Ann and I both have a lot of fun getting to cook together, following the easy-to-follow steps in getting the meals made. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea65 and use the code Campea65 for 65% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea65 using the code Campea65 for 65% off plus free shipping.